Hey, Aubrey, I have a question for you to start off today.
All right, let's do it.
So, is there anything that you're feeling anxious about at this moment?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm going to Sedona this weekend,
Uh,
and I am the type of vacation person that's like, go, 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 do all the hikes, do all the fun things. And I'm going with girlfriends that are like chill by the pool friends.
oh, no.
So I have to really pull myself back, and I'm a little anxious that it's going to be tough.
Yeah, that's right. So, you're not the type to sit by the pool. You want to go be active, do something,
Like a
right?
little of that would be okay, but I can't do that all day for 3
Yeah.
days. So we'll
Yeah.
see how it goes.
I'm the
Hopefully, I can
same way.
talk them into some fun activities.
Well, good luck. Let us know back on the
I
show
will.
after your trip. Sedona sounds incredible. We want to hear about it for sure. So,
Yeah.
anxiousness, right? Anxiety is something I
Yeah.
asked you about. A feeling.
And
It's a feeling.
the grammar was interesting here because you didn't say, "Do you feel anxious about anything right now?" You
Right.
said, "Is there anything you're feeling anxious about?" So listeners, you may have this might have triggered you like, "Why? This is a stative verb. Why is there
Oh,
present progressive? Textbooks told me I can't do that." But we
yeah.
do it with some stative verbs.
Yes. We're coming back to our arch nemesis, right? The stative verb and the confusion that we can have sometimes around stative
Exactly.
verbs. But on All Ears English, we're clearing it up for you guys, showing new language trends,
Yes.
rules that we're just breaking and it's okay and when it's not okay. So this is part 3 of a 3-part series. Right, Aubrey?
Exactly. You don't want to miss part 1, which was stative verbs for emotions like and love, right? I'm loving this right now. That was 2220.
Yep.
Like or liking, your grammar questions answered.
Right. And part 2 was where we talked about thoughts and opinions. That was episode 2223. Are you thinking this is tricky English grammar? Right.
Exactly.
So, our list, guys, go find those episodes, listen, and then come back here. Make sure you are following this podcast for more amazing series across the entire network of All Ears English.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes, exactly. So today we're diving into the third type of stative verb. There are 3, which this one is feelings and perceptions. So we'll
Okay.
first share the stative verbs that can be both present tense or present progressive with examples. And then we're going to share those that cannot, that really need to just be used in present tense.
Yeah, and we're exposing the classic myth that many of our listeners learned in school, which
Yeah.
is that they'll tell you, your teachers, your textbooks, your classrooms will tell you stative verbs are never used in the ing form, but this is the proof that they are actually sometimes used, right?
Exactly. At
Yes.
least in the States,
Yeah.
around the world, I feel like this is trending, like you said, Lindsay. This is getting more common. No
Yes.
one's going to bat an eye when we use them this way. And in fact, it
Right.
feels more native and natural.
And again, as you listen today, if you get frustrated, you get confused, come back to connection, right? We're teaching this because this is an opportunity. If you use these ones in the more modern native way, it's an opportunity to connect. So that's always what we're going for, guys. Okay.
Exactly. So let's dive into the first one under our bucket of can be used in both present simple and present progressive, which is be. Be verbs, right? He is being quiet right now. And of course, you could also say he is quiet
Which is,
or he is acting quiet, but we use be in both.
yeah. And it's different, right? When we say he's being quiet, it's really about this present moment,
Exactly.
right? And
The
he's,
same meaning would be he is acting quiet, but we
mhm,
also use be both in both verb tenses and sounds
yeah.
very natural to me.
Right? Often chunks that I'll use, "You're being weird." Or I'll say this to my
Yes.
partner sometimes, "What's going on? You're being weird. Is there something wrong? Like, what's happening?"
Totally. You're being quiet, you're being silly, you're being fun, all of them.
Very common, okay? And
Yeah.
it's a stative verb, but hey, look at this. We break the rules. Feel is another one.
Exactly. I'm feeling anxious, like you asked at the top of the episode, is there anything you're feeling anxious about? Or
Right.
I feel sick. Could also
Yeah.
say I'm feeling sick. This we use both ways for sure. And like you said, Lindsay, as a reminder, definitely get a deeper dive in those first 2 episodes, but it's all about if there's time, right? These are temporary things we're feeling in the moment, but maybe not always.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so so being able to articulate your feelings in the current moment super important.
Mhm.
Basically, I'm feeling sick. In this case, I'm feeling sick versus I feel sick. Basically, it means the same thing.
Mhm,
right?
mhm. It's all about the time, right? Is it
Yeah.
something that seems very temporary? It's like, "Okay, I'm feeling sick." Maybe like morning sickness, I would've been like, "I'm feeling sick," because I know it's gonna pass in a few minutes. Eat a
Right.
piece
But
of
you
toast and I'll be fine. But
right.
if, like, I have COVID, I'd probably be like, "I feel sick."
But I feel like for this one, I would say I could say the same thing if I had morning
Yeah.
sickness in this moment. Oh, I feel sick. It's morning
Yeah,
sickness
both
versus,
work.
oh, I'm really feeling sick, Aubrey. I think I need to finish early. Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
both work for
yeah.
sure
Yeah.
'cause it's with sickness, it's always a temporary state, right? It's a this more active, like,
Yes.
let's hope it's not a state that you'll be in forever, right?
Yes, 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 100%. And then the next one is smell. Okay. So tell us about this one, Aubrey.
Yeah, so you might say, "I'm smelling hints of saffron," if you're, like, smelling a dish, and this is very temporary. I'm describing a smell that I smell right now in this moment. And then we also use smell as a stative verb in present tense, like, "Do you smell that? Ooh,
Right.
it smells good in here."
Yes. And remember, we're talking about perceptions, and this, the senses are a way of
Mhm,
perceiving the world,
mhm,
taking it in. And then the next sense is taste, right?
right.
Um,
Mm. You
I'm
might say, "I'm tasting
oh,
all of these," if they're a bunch of desserts, and
yep.
what you mean is, "I am going to taste all of these," but you're saying, "Okay, I'm tasting all of these."
Yes, I love it. Or you have to at least taste it. You have to try it. Okay.
Mhm. This I
So
say to my kids all the time. They're like, "Ew,
yeah.
this looks gross." You have to at least taste it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is that kids get over that fear of these unknown flavors, right? When they become
Mhm.
now adults tend to be more willing to try new things. Not in all cases, but in some cases, right?
Yeah, and this is interesting because it's tricky with some of these where it's like, is this stative? Is this adverb? When we say like, "This tastes good," that's a
Mhm.
stative verb, right? It's
Yes.
interesting. These are tricky. It's just good to know, like, you can use verb ing. It's acceptable. Natives do it. You don't have to stress about it, even if your textbook told you you can't.
And what about just one-to-one comparison? This tastes good. This is tasting good.
Yeah,
Can
same, I feel like.
you
It's
can.
interesting. You're kind of just talking about that actual moment. Something's in your mouth tasting good right now, but both
That's
work. Absolutely.
Yep, and that's where we see the trendiness of this rule being broken,
Mhm,
right? I
mhm.
I don't think in, like, the '50s they said that. It
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
pulling
Mhm.
people into that present moment. It's just
Language
language
evolves,
evolving.
right?
Yeah,
Modern language, we're doing it a lot. Just like people didn't say, "I'm loving this chocolate cake" in the '50s, we do now.
right. Yes,
We do this.
100%. Then
Mhm,
continuing with the senses, hearing, right?
mhm.
Are
So,
you
are
hearing
you
that?
hearing that, or
Mhm.
do you hear that? These mean the
Yeah,
same thing, right? In
right.
this moment, are you hearing this? And we would
Yes,
also just be like, "Do you hear that?"
and it's exactly the same with see. Are you seeing this, or do you see that?
Yeah,
Uh,
they mean the same. We use
Basically
both.
the same. Yeah, yeah. Okay, then we have our bucket of verbs that, we can't break the rule. We don't add
Exactly.
ing.
We
What's
don't
the
use
first one?
these in the
Yes.
present progressive. So first is seem. This seems strange. And
Right.
I think the reason you can't say like this is seeming strange
Mhm.
is the word seem is one of those like classic stative verbs where
Yes.
it can't be an action. It can't be a
Yeah.
momentary feeling, right? Because
Yeah.
that's how when we're adding verb ing, we're sort of turning it into an action verb that
Yeah.
has time.
100%. Yeah, I agree. This one, don't put it in the ing. It'd be weird. It'd be
Mm-mm.
weird.
Yeah.
Appears. She appears to be a reasonable person, right?
Right, same
Um,
thing, right? This is very much like seems. She seems to be reasonable. She appears to be reasonable. But here's what's tricky about appear. You are
mm,
going to hear the word appearing, right? Because this is a
yes.
present continuous action verb with a totally different meaning. We use
Yes.
it to say, like, Pink is currently appearing at Madison Gardens. This does not mean seem. Right? It means performing. Or you might
Right.
say, she's always appearing when I least expect her. Again, this is a totally different verb, an action verb. That means to show up out of nowhere. So this
Yes.
is a little tricky because some verbs like appear are a stative verb with a totally different meaning than the
Mhm.
action verb of the same word. English, that is crazy.
Oh my gosh. This is B2 level here. You know what I mean? B2
Absolutely.
moving into C1 level for our listeners. It's where we push through this confusion. I mean, just the difference in those two meanings is very subtle, but it's also very drastic in
Yeah, it
conversation,
is,
right?
right? So here's your pro tip. If you see appears in a sentence or you want to use it, can you replace it with seem, right? She
Mhm.
appears to be reasonable, she seems
Seems
to
to
be
be
reasonable. If
like
so,
that too.
it's a stative verb. don't add ing. You could not say she is appearing to be reasonable. Nope, she appears. And if you can't replace it with seem, then it could be verb ing, right? Pink
Aubrey,
is appearing at
yes.
Madison Square Gardens.
We love your pro tips. We love it when you come in with these zingers, right? These pro tips, and it just makes things easier. And so that is the way, yeah, can you replace it with seems? Then
Yeah.
that is such a good point.
Then
I
it's
love
that
it.
first meaning, the stative verb. Seem means the
Yes.
same as appear as a stative verb.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, the same word, appear, is a verb with a totally different meaning.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, our listeners love role plays. And so let's bring it back to a conversational role play. So here, Aubrey, we are at a dining in the dark restaurant. I think I've been to one of these before,
Have you? I
actually. I
never
think
have. I kind of want
so.
to.
I'm trying to remember where it even was, but it sounds very familiar.
Sounds like it
All
was
right.
a while ago and you were drinking a lot.
Yeah, probably.
You're like, I don't remember where I
Maybe, yeah.
was,
I know,
what
I
I
know.
ate.
Or it was just very dark, and so I was just
Could
confused and
be.
lost the whole time. So,
Also possible.
all right, here we go. Go
I'll
for it.
start us out.
Yeah.
I can't tell what I'm tasting. Maybe salmon?
Oh, me neither. It tastes like mahi-mahi, maybe.
Oh, I'm feeling a little nervous about this.
Same. I feel like I'm gonna stab myself in the eye with a fork.
This seemed like such a good idea in theory.
Yeah, weird, right?
I love this role play.
I
I was
wonder,
cracking
yeah.
myself up writing this role play.
Yeah, I mean, can people do is there a business for that? Is there a business model for that? Do people I think people wanna know what they're eating, you know?
Yeah, I know there is. I know people do this, and I
Yeah.
think it's because you sense everything, you taste
Oh,
everything
yeah.
more potently in the dark, I guess, and it's an experience. I would do it.
Yeah, maybe I didn't go to one, but I thought about going to one. I don't know.
Maybe
I
you
don't know. I
saw it
feel
in a
like I would
movie.
remember it.
One of
Yeah.
my favorite films, About Time, they meet. It's their meet cute. They meet, they're, like, seated at the same table, these 2 girls, these
Mm.
2 boys, and they, like, hit it off, and it's so cute, and they don't know what
Oh.
each other looks like, and they come out of the restaurant and see each other for the first time. It's so adorable.
Yeah, that makes me think we should do maybe we should interview someone in Hollywood, but we should do an episode about Hollywood, classic Hollywood terms, the meet cute,
Ooh, that would be fun.
the treatment of the script. Like these are all insider terms you hear in LA that you really don't
Yes.
hear otherwise that
Let's
much.
find someone from Hollywood to
We need
interview.
to
I
find
love that
someone from
idea.
Hollywood. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I love that.
I actually
Okay.
know a director. I might reach out to
Okay.
him.
Would love that.
That would be
We love
cool.
that. We'll be waiting for that episode, Aubrey.
There you go.
Okay, let's go through the role play. So here we go. You said, I can't tell what I'm tasting. So ing for
Yeah, and this makes my
perception.
almost would
Mhm.
be strange to say I can't tell what I taste because it's
Right.
so like what I'm tasting right now. I'm making it an action. I'm making it have time. So I would
It,
actually really encourage the use of verb ing here. It just sounds more right to me.
it's so subtle here because there would be a place to use taste if I were serving you the meal. Hey, you obviously don't know what's on this plate. Let us know what you taste. That's right before you
Yes,
receive the
right.
meal. Or if
Or
you go to
how
a
does it
tasting.
taste? Yeah.
Yeah. But as you are exactly eating it, you might be more likely to say, I can't quite tell what I'm tasting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Mhm.
It is subtle. So, quick tip to not stress about this, right? With a lot of these, you can use either verb
Right.
ing or present tense. Don't let this stop you from making these connections.
Oh my
But we get
gosh.
so many questions from listeners about this because they hear natives using both. A textbook has taught them they can't. So, we wanted to break it down, let you know why you're hearing both. But don't let it stress you out.
Yeah.
Most cases, both are fine.
Like I said, once you really master this, you're really moving into,
Yes,
near native fluency, advanced C1 level. So, guys,
it
don't
is
worry
very
about it.
advanced.
Focus on
Yeah.
connection. So, then we had an example of using tastes. I said, me neither. It tastes like mahi mahi, maybe. And again,
Mhm.
that works too.
Yes, and this is more if you think of it, it's a stative verb here because it tastes like mahi mahi. It would always taste like mahi mahi. There's no time.
Yeah. And it's also a chunk. What does it
Yeah.
taste like? Oh, it tastes like
Mhm.
chocolate ice cream, right?
Tastes like mahi mahi. Yeah.
Yeah, good. And then I'm feeling a little nervous articulating your current feelings.
Yeah, and I for sure could say I feel a little nervous about
Sure,
this.
sure,
Both
sure, sure,
work,
sure,
right?
sure,
But we
sure.
do this. I'm
Yeah.
feeling nervous right now in this moment.
So it's more today's episode is more about you have another option, less
Yeah.
about it would be wrong to use the non-ing form in
Right.
that,
It's more about letting you guys know why you're hearing this, why you're hearing natives,
Yeah.
because we get so many questions. I
Yeah.
get it. That's
Yeah.
confusing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I said same. I feel like I'm going to stab myself in the eye.
Yes,
Not
and
good.
then I said, "This seemed like such a good idea," and I just realized that I did it when I said, "You're hearing these." You probably think it should be,
Oh,
"You hear these,"
right.
but stative verb hearing, we use it both ways.
Perfect example. Wow, you didn't even try to
Mhm.
do that example
I
and it just
know.
came out.
I just noticed, I was like, "Oh, hey, there it is."
I love it. So what's the takeaway? I mean, again, guys, not to get stressed out. We know you have
Yeah.
questions. This is more about observing, right? What you
Yeah.
hear out in the world and maybe trying this out a little bit.
Yeah, and I think it's helpful for you to know, like, textbooks teachers might have taught you this is wrong, so you're confused why you hear natives doing it. It's good to recognize that, like, textbooks aren't always right about how natives actually speak in daily conversations.
It's also possible that some of the textbooks you may have studied in school were written
Outdated.
in the 60s or the
Yep.
70s and are
Yeah.
not getting updated. And language is changing. That's the
Yeah.
other piece of this. Some of these we're seeing it as more of a trend in the last 5 or 10 years.
Right. Or they're
Yeah.
teaching very formal English, and this is very conversational English. A
Right.
lot of these I probably wouldn't write in a paper. Like,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it's the way we speak.
Yeah, and we said that in one of the previous
Yep,
episodes too, right?
exactly.
This is not
Mhm.
about written English, guys. Today is about spoken English. Okay?
Yes, so be
Good.
sure to check out this whole series so you get all the details about the state of verbs and how you can use them in English for deeper connections.
All right. Good stuff, Aubrey. I will talk to you soon. Have a good day.
Awesome. Thanks, Lindsay. Bye.
Bye.